Good evening.
Good evening.
And welcome to yet another reading, a Monday reading of the book called The Ghetto Sketches. And I'm going to start off, as I usually do, by explaining a little bit about how this came to be. The title of this particular book is The Busting Out of an Ordinary Man. The book should be titled Ghetto Sketches II, but since the editor at Holloway House and the publisher decided they knew better than I did or anyone else what the title of the book should be, they took an old cover, well, a cover that had didn't have a manuscript to fit it, and decided to fit it on my book and called Ghetto Sketches II, The Busting Out of an Ordinary Man. Go figure. I promised the publisher, without any malevolence, without any malice or forethought. I'm so mad I can hardly get that out. But I promised him whenever I had an opportunity to tell the story of how the book was renamed without my permission, and that it was on the stands before I even knew. I'm saying, what's that?
Mm-hmm.
I made an effort. I made a promise that I would tell the story every opportunity I get. So now,
but right now it can be purchased on Amazon.
Amazon.com.
Okay, and with the new cover, right?
With the new cover.
Okay.
So let's have at it.
Yes, please.
For those who have been following the story, we know that Fergie and Lucille have been having problems with the next door neighbor who blows his horn and his bassoon in the middle of the night. But that problem seems to have been taken care of, so now they are doing something else.
Yes.
Fergie Smith shifted his weight slightly, trying to ease out of the depression on his side of the bed as he listened to his wife's movements in the kitchen. Of all the fucked up things to be afflicted with, what the hell could be worse than have a bad back? He rolled his head from side to side, feeling swamped by self-pity and anger. I knew I should have asked somebody to help me lift that fucking sack, but no, not me, old strong Dr. Smith. Lucille popped through the bedroom door with a glass of water. Here, Fergie, it's time for your pills. He frowned at the thought of swallowing the 2 horse-sized shaped tablets he had to take every night. Damn, Lucille. Why can't we skip them tonight, baby? Lucille placed a fist on one well-endowed hip and moved the water glass inches closer. Now, Fergie, you know what the doctor said. He reached out reluctantly for the glass of water with one hand and took the pills on his night table with the other one, and felt a stabbing pain in the lower left side of his back. The pain surprised him. How long had it been there? Almost a week without any bad pain at all. Lucille looked at him closely. Deep concern, compassion etched on her face. Fergie, you all right, honey? He had to let the pain pass, trickle away to little spasms before answering. Is it bad, baby? She asked gently. It's going away. He mumbled, relief creeping across his face as the spasms stopped. He gulped the water and pills in 2 quick motions, handed her the glass and settled back slowly, carefully. Lucille sat on the side of the bed. Fergie? Yeah, baby. What did the doctor say? What did he say? Same old, same old. Keep on taking your medicine, keep a lot of heat on it, and come back next Monday. Did he think you was getting any better? Fergie looked off evasively, attempted to lie, but decided not to. Lucille was like a radar on lies. Yeah, well, let me put it to you this way, baby. He said he couldn't tell me that I was getting better or worse with the kind of thing I got at my age. It could last for a long time or could go away just like that. They were both silent for a few long moments, their thoughts blocking out the noises from the apartment next door, the rumbling of the L train a few blocks away, and the heavy wobbly sounds of someone stumbling through the hallway. Lucille, coming back from the doldrums first, kicked her shoes off and began to prepare for bed. Well, I was just wondering, she said absently. He watched her unbutton her blouse, slip out of her skirt. Damn, how long had it been? Funny about my back. Placing his hands behind his head, some days I don't feel a thing, and then, for no reason at all, making the slightest move, it feels like somebody hit me in the back with a sledgehammer. Lucille smiled, warmed at him, and eased into the bathroom. Palm with ice cubes. She's a good woman. Got to be a good woman to be going through all the shit she's been going through with me for the last 8 months. Fergie, won't you be getting your check tomorrow? She asked from the bathroom, the toilet gurgling erratically in the background. Supposed to, he answered evenly. Either I get it, or I'm going to have to go down there and cuss that dumb bitch out again. Lucille giggled. Fergie flashed a broad smile at the ceiling, listened to her giggle. Good to hear that sound for a change. Mrs. Schwartz, the state workers' compensation representative, was a serious standing joke between them. She was responsible for getting his monthly check out to him, but for some reason she never seemed to be able to do it right 2 months in a row. God and Mrs. Schwartz. His smile faded, reconsidering the serious position she put them in whenever she goofed. You could almost laugh about it if you didn't feel like crying. How things going with you and Mrs. Burnhammer? He asked, calculating the stages of Lucille's preparation for bed, brushing her teeth and all. Oh, you know how it is. Some days are better than others. She spat toothpaste in his toilet bowl, flushed it, and re-entered the bedroom. Blue middle length negligee swirling about her thighs. Fergie's eyes danced from her breast to her thighs and back, his eyelids hooded. Like that there.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I just walk around that woman's house sometimes, looking at all the advantages she has. Damn, everything in the house is automatic, except me. She laughed sarcastically, sat down at her dressing table and started creaming her face. Can you imagine somebody having all their bills paid? Damn, there's nothing to it, really. But nothing to do but shop all day, and when she ain't doing that, she's drinking. Come to think of it, she's been drinking a long time now. But I didn't pay too much attention to her lately. She came up to me today, breath smelling like a distillery, and started talking. Mrs. Smith, she says. Yes, Miss Burnhammer? Hate that name. What can I do for you? I'm right in the middle of polishing the silver, so you know damn well I ain't feeling too much like no chit-chat. Mrs. Smith, how long have you worked for me? How long? 5.5 years. I told her, oh my God, all the way, you know, because they don't tell her what gets in middle-aged white women's heads sometimes. Anyway, she looked down at her gin glass for a while and finally looks up into my face and says, slurs would be a better way to put it, almost with tears in her eyes. Mrs. Smith, why can't we be friends? Why can't we be friends? For a second, I had the urge to jab one of these forks out and polish it in her eye. But then I thought, no, don't do that, Lucille. She's just drunk. And besides, she ain't even worth killing her. I stopped polishing the silver and asked her, Mrs. Burnhammer, how in the hell we gonna be friends when I'm sitting up here polish a bunch of knives and forks and spoons of yours that you don't even use but once a month. In addition to that, you ain't paying me enough for us to be friends.
Oops. Oops.
Yeah. She walked away behind that, sobbing in her drink. Yeah, white folks is sure enough hard to figure out sometime. They want to pee on your head and make you think it's raining. She stood at the wall switch looking at his peaceful expression. He stood up and faced the bed and Fergie's angelic, dreamless expression. She crossed over to him on tiptoe and kissed his forehead. Poor baby. Better he be glad when he stopped taking those pills. They knock him out faster than the cat can lick his ass. He stood at the wall switch looking at his peaceful expression and measured the distance she'd have to cover in the dark after flicking the light off, smiled as she glided to bed in the dark. Remembered all the time Fergie had stabbed his toe against the bedstead or a chair on his way to bed. Good night, baby. She whispered into his sleeping ears and turned her back to him, her arms aching from the wax job she had given the Burnhammer living room that afternoon. God, I hope I ain't coming down with bursitis or something. That's all we need. Now we're going to different places in the neighborhood. And this is another one. I missed one of them. It's a community jazz club owned by none other than Qanun al-Hadi. Qanun al-Hadi, once known before his conversion to Islam as Milford Hawkins, stood center stage, bathed in a luminous spotlight, his precious bassoon perched on a stand next to him, playing an African thumb piano solo. The Pot's Monday night jazz audience, a confection of semi-professional musicians, professional musicians, deep believers, cool dudes and their ladies, sat mesmerized by Qanun's passionate involved with his art. During the course of the playing of one particularly tricky phrase, Qanun looked out at the audience, tears forming in his eyes, his lips trembling and moaned. Get on down, Qanun, get on down to Stone Soul. A high Gemini lady, unable to bear the tension any longer, called out to him. Flicking into and through the phrase again, satisfied that he was getting exactly what he wanted, he slid away from it and signaled with an arrogant turn of his head for the re-entrance of his quintet. The quintet sound, Mediterranean, Afro-Cuban, New World African, danced past his staccato piano playing, the little box held up close to the microphone now, wobbled back artfully to the last phrase he had played and slithered to an end. The audience stood as one and applauded wildly. Qanun bowed ever so slightly, a cold smile flicking at the corner of his mouth. Yeah, good, he thought, to see the people giving themselves up to another music. Another music, indeed. He nodded solemnly to the members of his group, taking the measure of each one as he did so. Armendito, on congas, a fiercely proud little black dervish from Matanzas, Cuba, who acted and played as though rhythm belonged to him. Shake Baby on oud. Buford Knob singing on every size flute currently known, doubling on shekere and double gong. Pablo Cruz Estrana, playing the cello with so much quickness and grace that people always asking why the dude was playing this oversized guitar standing on the end like that. Them, that is, who weren't hip to the fact that Cruz Estrana was a genius. Baby Blood blew soprano sax and loved ragged solos, always seemed to be mad at somebody or something, but showed none of that kind of feeling as he spooled out yard after yard of brutally honest song. Concerto for bassoon! Somebody yelled. Yeah! Concerto for bassoon. Somebody else picked up the request. He stood at the edge of the stage and let them come at him in full voice before he took a step backward to his instrument. Yeah, go on, put the pot on. Concerto for bassoon, canon. He picked up his bassoon from the stand, glared the audience into submissive silence, paused to deep breathe several times, to tune in with the members of his group. And then gesture the music into being. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Cruz Estrana loved the concerto for bassoon, and it showed in his method of attack. A so-called music jazz critic, unable to get past Pablo's long black eyelashes and his slender, delicate shaped fingers, called his opening statement the Chinese blues. Pablo and Canun had laughed themselves to tears reading the review. It was obvious that the reviewer had never heard of a saita, or nor had he ever heard La Niña de las Peñas or Manitas de Plata's cousin Jose Reyes sing one. He slipped Baby Blood in behind the cello's opening statement, nodding warmly at the baby's deep, searching, slurry sounds. Buford trailed in, swiping at the baby's tail ends with little melodic swoops and whoops. Shake, baby, counterpointed with his oud. Armandito calmly put the chicory aside and got down on his congas with a rhythmic pattern that was almost Hindu-Indian in its complexity. The unit gelled into place with the first movement slowed down to pick Canun up in the second section, and they stretched out from there. Canun, never content to feel his way up and down scales, frowned at the familiarity of his notes, the memory of them with a succession of finely tuned notes, erased the memory of them with a succession of finely woven statements, profound commentaries on his state of mind and deep regard he had for beauty and the truth that his instrument was capable of exploring. The Gemini lady's eyes glistened, and the corners of her mouth grew moist as she listens. Each of his notes a precious piece of advice to her consciousness. Canun fixed her mind with a soulful glance at the end of the piece and said in eye language that he wanted her to follow him back to his dressing room at the conclusion of the set.
Gotcha.
The audience, satisfied with another reading of his trademark work, the avant-garde of another music, allowed him to leave the stage, opening up an aisle of adoration to his dressing room. The Gemini lady, a lyrically constructed Ethiopian-looking cocainist, her head held high, followed him, dazzled by the idea that she was going to be given the privilege of serving the master. When applause and many jealous looks followed them as they turned the far corner of the club, another kind of that creativity about to happen. Fred Lee nudged Bessie gently. That's it, baby. We'll be lucky if we see Canun again till Friday. We better get on out of here so I can get up tomorrow. Bessie laughed out loud, a fine gin and squirt film clouding her vision. Good vibes and her man cooling out all negatives. They made their way through the crowd, portions of them milling around as they had been led astray, while others sat patiently waiting, hoping that Canoon, after the girl and the woman, would return for another set. It was never possible to know what was going to happen in the park, mainly because the place belonged to Canoon, or possibly his roommate had it to one of his numerous girlfriends. It was said that Canoon, weeks after his opening, got on stage one night and explained in no uncertain terms what the policy of the park was going to be. The versions varied with the people telling the story, but it was all generally agreed that he had said that the park would be on from Monday to Saturday, that it might only be simmering sometimes to allow the amateur cooks a chance with their unorthodox recipes. But for the most part, they would be cooking everything that was musically edible. Bessie and Fred Lee struggled into their coats in the crowded foyer of the club, then eased out into the cold night. Bessie held Fred Lee's arm, fending off competition with the move. Admiring her man's wide-brimmed, silver-crowned hat, his full beaver brush mustache, and the peacockish way he carried himself. He broke into laughter as they walked. "What's funny, baby?" she asked him, already smiling, the contagion sprang. I was thinking about one night. Remember one night at the park when Canoon came on stage and sat down and started reading the newspaper? Bessie's laughter echoed it. Yeah, I remember that. What was he saying when people got pissed off and started fat-mouthing it? Well, aside from calling the people in the audience a bunch of stupid motherfuckers and 10-eared baboons and a bunch of other weird-ass things, he said, oh, I remember. I remember. He said, if Beethoven was up here, you wouldn't be asking him to perform on cue like a fucking trained seal or something. So why should I? Or something like that. Then he walked off the stage. You remember that? Oh, God, yeah. Canoon crazy as hell. Mm-hmm. Really? But that motherfucker be playing a whole lot of music. Fred Lee slowed his step, thoughtfully checking out the dark areas on the street ahead of him, alert for midnight flyers, delinquents, and the pigs. He continued, satisfied that the way was safe. Yeah, I guess you could say he's crazy in a way. But did what the dude did. First thing he did, which was really super slick, right after he made a little bread off his first few albums, was to buy a club right here in the neighborhood. Well, you know what they say about that, about who got the club for him. Yeah, well, that may be true. But the fact remains, the dude got a place to play his own music. I mean, like, he could get funky as a motherfucker up in the pot, and he ain't got to answer to nobody. Nobody! I hadn't really thought about it like that. Yeah, I dig it. I was standing around me and Jake the Fake. You and who? Fred Lee smiled and lowered his hand to put us affectionately on her rump. Mm-hmm. I said me and Jake the Fake, baby. But don't be getting all excited and shit. I ran into him one evening. We stopped for a taste in the pub. No, baby, no deals, no schemes. We just stopped for a taste to rap a while. Anyway, Canoon was talking to a bunch of dudes at the bar, telling them that he represented the new breed, that he was one of them new niggas that didn't have to get a white boy shit. Didn't have to play what they wanted him to play, didn't have to pay them no rent, and wasn't waiting around hoping they would decide to recognize his black ass. He was doing his own thing, and them what didn't like it could kiss his ass, the red inner meat part of it. Mm-hmm. Well, I say, she peeked at him out of the corner of her eyes. Was that stuff Miss Rabbit gave me to use after he got out of the joint really responsible for him being the way he is now, or what? Why are you looking at me out of the corner of your eyes like that, woman? Because I love you, Fred Lee, that's why. He squeezed her waist, slimmer now by 20 pounds since she had gone on a strict diet. Come on, we got a block to go. You used to be pretty fast. I'll race you to the front steps. Bessie bent over, snatched her shoes off, and struck out, giggling like a teenager, before Fred Lee realized she had just put 40 yards between them. He eased into us. He eased into us. You know how people get you. He eased into a sprinter's stride after a few yards. The years of doing wind sprints in a prison yard showing up in every smooth movement. Yes, sir. It was sure enough looking good. He thought as he breezed past Bessie with a grin. Woman looking good. I'm looking good. The only thing wrong with this jive job I got. Gotta do better than this mail clerk messenger bullshit. Gotta do something else. He dashed to the top step of the porch fronting the apartment building, barely breathing hard, and watched. Bessie paused at the bottom, exhausted. You cheated, Fred Lee, she accused him, mounting the steps. I never did cheat when you started out first. You just did. She responded with impeccable logic, and eased past him, glowing from the run, feeling giddy. He followed her up dimly lit stairs, carefully checking out the dimples in the back of her legs, her lately found hourglass figure. Yeah, things is definitely looking up. And that's where we are at this point. That's the end of chapter 1, believe it or not. All of that.
Oh, okay.
Things are happening. As you can see, I'm trying to round out what was going on in chapter 1, so that Fred Lee had been busted with Rena Slick.
Right, from Ghetto Sketches.
Ghetto Sketches
2021, yeah.
Real Ghetto Sketches. And they're beginning to reform.
So we revisit the characters from the previous book.
You got
See what
it.
their
That's
life
it.
is.
Okay, so I'm not going to prolong that because we have to be prepared to get back into this next Monday.
You got it, kid.
And all I'm going to say is, oh, incidentally, yeah, the cap was given to me. Somebody asked me. The cap was given to me by my friend James Butler, one of our members of our Tai Chi family.
And
I
of
found
course,
it to be very cozy.
The third musketeer, or part of the group, is of course Alfred Reeves.
Alfred Reeves and James Butler and Tai Chi.
Okay, and to all of our Facebook and Tai Chi friends and followers, if you like this YouTube, please hit the like button and follow us, because we have a potpourri, a panchan, a variety of things on this YouTube channel. Until next time.